Hello and welcome to a new podcast series with Leon John Russell, Luigi and Stephen Dean discussing From A Course in Miracles, the Manual for Teachers, and cross-referencing with the spiritual classic by Nisargadatta Maharaj, I Am That. Enjoy. Gentlemen, how are we today?
I'm fine, my friend. How are you two? Good to see us again.
Hi, Leon. How's it, Steve? Everything good?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Nice to see those faces again. See those beards in action.
Yeah.
Let's get rocking. Right, we're on to
Beards
joy.
in action.
Beards in action. There's another book title.
Yeah.
Right. Section 5 of the characteristics of God's teachers. Joy. Oh no, who wants to talk about joy? Should we skip this one?
Yeah, let's skip
it. Want some joy? Skip it. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
We can't
a person that works at the local soup kitchen. She's the most grumpy git I've ever met.
All that servitude's bringing her down.
Well, to me, joy is simple. Joy is peace. Peace is joy. The end. Let's move on. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Joyous peace. Peaceful joy.
Beautiful.
Joy is no negativity at all. Joy is just happiness, isn't it, really? Joy, happiness, just another word, just all words, isn't it? All more or less doing the same thing. Joyful, merry, I suppose, but merry is associated with drinking, I suppose. But happy, joyous.
Yeah, semiotics, you could use it. I use, just for the sake of differentiation, I say happiness is fleeting and it occurs in consciousness, dream consciousness. And joy is peace in motion. And peace is joy and stillness. But those are just my ways of describing the peace of God that transcends understanding into knowing. It's just the semiotics, meaning behind meaning, symbols twice removed. And then again, I like to, in my rude awakening, split the word happiness up into happiness. And that's what we're all seeking for, somewhere to put it.
And
11 minutes of pleasure and 30 years of hell.
Perfect joy, as it's talking about. Yeah, it's not just saying joy as in ordinary joy. It's talking about the joy. So once we've reached this kind of joy, we've gone through all the stuff that teaches us joy, because you can't understand happiness unless you've had some unhappiness in this world.
Yeah.
You really appreciate happiness when you've been unhappy. So if you're going to reach joy, there's no more unhappiness for you. You've reached the awakening stage where you no longer understand anything except joy. That's what I take this to be referring to. Your ordinary common or garden joy, like when your favourite TV program might come on, extremely fleeting, but permanent inner joy, and knowing that everything's good, everything's well. I mean, that's real joy, to my mind, knowing that everything is well and unshakably well.
And that, that highlights the peace that passeth all understanding, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
What an amazing phrase that is.
Yeah.
Well,
just that passage which says joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. Because fear, it's a negative energy. It's resistance energy. So gentleness, you're in acceptance of what is. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. The gentle have no pain, so no suffering, no resistance. They cannot suffer. Why would they not be joyous? Well, there you go.
And if you only put out joyfulness at all times, that's all you're going to see around you.
Hmm.
Or if something comes up that you don't appear very joyful, you can sort of like still remain joyful behind the illusion. You can return back to it, as it says in the book. Like in this world, the ego is always going to jump in first. If something upsets you, the ego goes to jump in and start arguing. You just pull him back and say, "Wait a minute, let's look at this another way.
Yes.
Let's discuss this or whatever is necessary to cool it down. Because you don't want to get into that anti-Zen stuff. Where your Zen just not there. You
Hmm.
know, it's because I live with me and my wife. We live in a very Zen atmosphere here. We're just so calm and collected. I love it. I mean, happiness and contentment is my reward for doing all this. That's the way I talk, not reward. It's a reflection back of caring so much about everything, which I genuinely do.
Mm.
You know, Thinking about like I've been doing. This is my sort of like 11th year of daily posting something or other, and it's just I feel like it's such a commitment to doing it, but it's not like going to work. It's a joy. So
Mhm.
doing this is a joy. Every morning I post something or do something, because it keeps me in my mind. I just want to spread this joy because everybody is me. If it's a reflection of what I think, then by projecting it, then I'm going to see this joy coming back at me, and I do. When you get someone's like I say, make a video and someone says something, you really made my day, or you've opened my eyes, or something. I love this, and you think it's not an egoic thing. It's a feeling like you've made them joyful.
Mm.
You've got a reaction to your action. Joy is what you want, and their
Yeah.
joy is what you put out, and they're confirming it. It's not an egoic thing. I don't think, oh, ain't I great? I just think, isn't that wonderful?
Mm.
You know?
And to me as well, it's joyous peace or peaceful joy,
Yeah.
gentleness is our true essential nature. It's the essence of what we are is joyous peace, peaceful joy. And the only time there's any ego involved is the pursuit of peace or joy. Because who seeks peace and who seeks joy? Those that know not what they are. And once
Mm.
you know you are that essential nature, that essence energy, which is peace, the peace of God that transcends understanding, well,
Mm.
that once it's knowingly there, and you know that your thoughts are not your own, and no matter what pops up or appears or disappears is only trying to draw your attention from your present moment awareness,
Mm.
which is peaceful joy, then nothing's going to disturb that anymore.
Mm.
And if it does pop up and does seem to disturb you, it's always very short-lived because you catch yourself. And that's why I like to say peace is joy, in stillness, and joy is peace in extension. Once you're extending the peace of God, it's a joyous movement in
Mhm.
our temporal appearance. Is there really any movement in absolute reality? I don't know. But from my present moment direct experience, it certainly feels that way. Feels. Again,
Mm.
another term in consciousness that I'm sure in our total absolute awareness, there's no feeling anything. There's just the joyous being,
Mm.
the joy of being, the joyous being.
Mm. Beautiful.
In an Advaita book I once read by Dennis Waite, he's very good. He said the closest he can describe to an early awakening, I'll give you a clue to what it's like, this kind of joy. When you wake up in the morning before your brain starts kicking in, and you have that very pleasant doze where you're dozing, being a kind of a very quiet contentment. And then the thoughts of the day ahead come in and it all snaps into action and you start getting ready. That moment between waking and that pause where there's just nothing happening except your happy contentment before your brain starts telling you to stop it,
Mm, mm,
right? That's the sort of state of mind you're supposed to, he would say you need to what you can try and achieve to get, because you know that exists. You
Mm.
know that feeling between waking and actually realizing that the day ahead is beginning. That quiet
Mm.
where you're just happy and content for that short time. If you can achieve that all the time, then
Mm.
you're not far off awakening proper.
Mm.
That's an Advaita thing, and that's true, because that is actually there. That is there to be experienced for everybody. It's not very long. It doesn't last very long, but it's there. You know.
Yeah, there's a
It
guy.
won't last. It won't last very long the minute the mind kicks back in. But at the
Yeah.
minute you remain in present awareness or aware of presence, it's the all-pervading presence It's the essence energy in which we abide and from which we're made and which we're extending.
Yeah.
But the minute that broadcast of the dreaming mind, we give attention to it, it's gone. It's gone from our awareness. It's never gone. And again, it's just bringing it back to awareness. And that's the practice. It's not a meditation. True meditation is pure awareness. And there's that wonderful line, they hold his gifts and follow in his way because God's voice directs them in all things. So there's the trust that comes back. And then this line that says, joy is their song of thanks. So it's just an expression of our essence energy, of the true essence we are, expressed through the body mind character in the dream, appears joyful, appears happy, appears light-hearted.
Wow. And that is as true a song of thanks.
Yeah.
And Christ looks down on them in thanks as well. It's like reflecting out. Your song of thanks becomes in tune with the song of thanks around you, and you hear this song everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Although I'm going to have a word with Christ about that line.
What?
And Christ looks down on them. Hey, what's this looking down on people stuff for? You know?
How big's your ego, Christ? Come on.
No, it's just looking down. Where the hell are you that you have to look down on us?
Yeah. Looking down his nose. I should have said Christ looked down his nose on them.
Little bit of
But
poor editing there, Rod.
Yeah, if we were Christ, who's looking down on what? Is there an up and a down?
Yeah, really. I mean, in essence, what I think means is insinuating that Christ is the Christian thought that Jesus is up in heaven and he's looking down from the cloud, going, "Well done, my son," that sort of thing. But it's sort of like
Christ-mindedness, looking in on the dream.
Hey,
Christ-mindedness, looking in on the dream. Just to
Yeah, that's what it actually means. I mean, Christ looks down on them.
So we'll have a word with him when we get back up there and say, hey, you were looking in, not looking down. What's this nonsense?
Yeah. Remember that. Put that on the list, Lou, because you've got quite a list developing.
I've got a list, I'm taking up with Christ. Corrections for the Christ mind, book 7.
Well, as we always say, like, we've only got words to describe the indescribable, and that is one of these phrases that's not come out just quite as intended, I think.
Oh, God.
Wow. So in my next lifetime, I'll come down as to bring a correction to the
Christ's corrector. Yeah. He's back, and this time he's going to correct Christ.
And he means business.
Episode 16, chapter 4.
Let's keep the universe going for another 1 billion years because he's back.
And Christ is corrected.
He stands corrected.
Again.
A corrected Christ.
Lewis, the symbolic osteopath.
That's it.
Christ stands corrected. Right, let's read this little section out. Joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. The gentle have no pain. They cannot suffer. Why would they not be joyous? They're sure they're beloved and must be safe. Joy goes with gentleness as surely as grief attends attack. God's teachers trust in him, and they are sure his teachers goes before them, making sure no harm can come to them. They hold his gifts and follow in his way because God's voice directs them in all things. Joy is their song of thanks, and Christ looks down his nose on them in thanks as well.
A bit about the nose.
Just checking you're listening. His need of them is just as great as theirs of him. How joyous it is to share the purpose of salvation. So there we go. 3 words from the end. Purpose. That's where the joy comes from. And also, I think, you know, when people are, we have like 70,000 thoughts a day, don't we? And it's like when people are observing the activity of the mind. There's a guy that I was listening to the other day. It's brilliant, really simple. And he was just saying, if you think that your thoughts come from you, sit there, listen, and tell yourself, what's your next thought going to be about? Try and
Absolutely.
try and predict your next thought.
We
And,
do not think we are thought through 100%.
Yeah.
and it's helpful for people to consider that and to just sit with that and go, wow, okay. And I'm thinking of like one of the early workbook lessons where the description of thoughts is like some strange, weird procession.
Yes.
Um, and I think that's really helpful imagery as well. It's like, you know, if you had 10 thoughts in a row, you might think about shopping, a memory from a holiday 10 years ago, something you're going to say to someone, something you saw on telly, and you look at it all. If you jotted it all down, you think, I may as well just go and book myself into a lunatic asylum because there's no coherent thread to that lot.
Yeah. Correct.
Well, I'll tell you a true story. I mean, when I lived in Australia, this is shortly before I came across the course, before I was introduced to the course, I was always trying to conquer my thoughts. So getting thoughts going in and out. I was always trying to battle off attack thoughts all the time. And one evening I went to bed and I just said, right, you attack thoughts, do your worst. Just think what you want. Just think anything, right? Just I'm going to lay and let you think. I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to let you think. And I had the most intense revelation. In my life, I've had three revelations. That was when my wife died. After she came back to me after 3 days. And this was the second one. The third one I told you about the other week when I was in that kung fu school, when I woke up on that thing. But this one was very intense. And I just felt this. I was surrounded like in a cotton wool ball of love. It was not. It was just like I felt like I could feel it. I could pull lumps off of it even, but it was just solid. And it lasted for about an hour, and I was in absolute ecstasy. And when it lifted off and started to go away, I was almost like trying to reach up and pull it back down again. Because when that was on me, I just wanted that forever and ever. It was just complete and holy love. There was no thing, no ambition, no, I've got to have more of this. I've got it. And when and I've never been able to get it back. I've tried doing that again. Come on, think what you want. It only did it that one time, but it did it. And I saw that when I started the course and got into it, I saw that as a preliminary, like something says, give him a revelation. Because I've learned from the course, I thought revelations were a sudden idea about something. It's not. According to the course, a revelation is a feeling of pure love. And that's what I had. The one in the Kung Fu arena, that wasn't pure love. That was a kind of like everything is wonderful, everything is fine. It was I'm not going to say it was lesser because it was absolutely beautiful, but it was nothing like as intense. The wife one, just by the way, I'll say it while I'm talking about it. 3 days after she died, I'd been down to the funeral parlour to look at her in her coffin. And because she'd had cancer, her face was all, her neck was all swollen up, and they couldn't do her hair because it was falling out because of the chemotherapy and stuff like that. So I went back home and I sat in the chair because we used to sit opposite each other. And I was just been to see you down at the. I said, I bet you look like an angel now. And she came out of the chair. This force came out of the chair and surrounded me again
Wow.
in what felt like it feels not. I'm not going to say solid, but it feels like it has texture, like cotton wool, and you could pull a bit off. I could hear her voice in her head telling me she loved me.
Wow.
And all, I think I said something about this when she said back she'd come and confirm my ideas, but she couldn't confirm them because she didn't. All she said was she loved me, and then as she faded away, I was trying to pull her back again, and she come to tell me that she was somewhere else. And I think that search for where she's gone has been down to me looking and going up all sorts of avenues before I eventually found A Course in Miracles, and here I am now, still following it. You know,
I
Yeah,
do love
beautiful.
that. That's absolutely beautiful. I love all three of those stories. And I think it highlights the fact that with that wonderful phrase that Judy used to say about the course meets you where you are, and you know, as we've said many times, you open it today and you've opened it 1,000 times, and you read that line or that paragraph, and you feel like you've never read it. And I don't think I'll ever stop marveling at the fact that it's so malleable that you'll never find the edges of it. It's the perfect kind of metaphor for itself in a way, like when Nick Arandes, he was asking a bunch of people a question. I think you've seen this as well, Lou. And he was saying, he was asking about how the presence of the Holy Spirit within the dream, and people were making really good suggestions. And in the end, he goes, "I'll tell you what I'm talking about." He's going, "This." That's a manifestation of the Holy Spirit in the
Absolutely.
within the dream that we can
Yeah.
all interact with, communicate with, access, and it meets us where we are because
Because it's our Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's our communication with the Lord God of our being. So
yeah.
of course it's going to meet us where we are, because we are always here now in the Holy Spirit.
Wherever we are, he is.
Hmm.
It's like I said to you when you sent me that thing, Leon, that thing about going to that thing in London where they're having a big jolly, all the Course of Miracles people all meeting up for a big jolly. I don't want to go there. I mean, I appreciate what they're doing, but it ain't about all meeting up and having a jolly. I mean, this is just purely my way of thinking. I mean, good luck to what they're doing. It's great. They're all lovely people. I'm sure. I know they are. They're always asking me to come to these meetings. But this is what I want to do, what I'm doing now. I don't feel the need to be part of a big group. It's not a club, you know. It's sort of like, but I wish them all the well, and I'm sure they'll have a wonderful time. But God is here. I don't need to go to London to find God. There's lots of teachers here, so there must be lots of God.
I don't know if God
It's
is in London.
I think he
I'll
might
have
be.
to
he's
invest.
there, but he's here in my living room as well.
In
I
London,
think he
really?
might be in Kent. No, Denmark Street. God will be. That's where all the good music should be.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's that? I should work up the West End in Shaftesbury Avenue, and I used to go in the guitar shops in Timpan. That's Timpan Alley, Denmark Street, isn't it?
Yeah.
I used to go there quite regular. There's
Yeah.
some fantastic old guitars in those shops. I don't know if it's that 40 odd, 50 years ago. Bloody hell. I don't know if these shops are still there. Jesus. But they used to have some great old guitars, But yeah,
Beautiful.
memories.
So let's have a look at defenselessness. God's teachers have learned how to be simple. They have no dreams that need defense against the truth. They do not try to make themselves. Their joy comes from their understanding who created them. Their joy comes from their understanding who created them. And does what God created need defense? No one can become an advanced teacher of God until he fully understands that defenses are both foolish guardians of mad illusions. The more grotesque the dream, the fiercer and more powerful its defenses seem to be. Yet when the teacher of God finally agrees to look past them, he finds that nothing was there. Slowly, at first, he lets himself be undeceived, but he learns faster as his trust increases. It's not danger that comes when defenses are laid down, it's safety, it's peace, it's joy, and it's God. Wow.
Yep.
It's a good wow one.
That is a wow. It makes me think of Nisargadatta when he says it's the individual that fears the death of the individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's our greatest fear. And it's not just death. We can overcome the fear of death, but it's the fear of never having existed as an individual at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our minds can't comprehend 8 billion people and gazillion other aliens out there throughout the universe becoming one indivisible mind.
Mm.
We can't get around that. Unless you're as intelligent as I am, then you can, but other than that, you won't. But
That's why I've told you to bottle that special stuff so we can all buy
yeah,
it off you.
Well,
yeah,
now this week.
it's a completely empty bottle called silent stillness, and you go in there and you comprehend it all because there's nothing to comprehend. It's just present moment awareness is silent.
Have you
They
spent a
do
lot of
not
God?
make themselves. That's the beautiful life.
Yeah, that's great.
What
That
have we trying to do our whole lives is, and not only make, but identify. Make and identify or imagine is the same thing. So God creates and extends, and the Son extends and creates with God. What do we characters in our dreaming mind do? We make, and we try and make ourselves in order to make us to imagine. We've imagined the universe, we've imagined the world, we've imagined bodies, we've imagined animals, we've imagined everything, and we think we make manifest. We're just imagining Nothing. Much ado about nothing.
Yeah. This first line, God's teachers have learned how to be simple. I spent the last 15 years simplifying it, like, so I'm learning how to make the simple, make it, well, learning and tell it how simple it is, because it really is
Yeah.
so simple. And funny
And
enough,
back,
yesterday's lesson was sickness is a defense against the truth. And I did a video about it and put it on TikTok. Sickness is a defense against the truth. It's the ego's defense against the truth. Because when you're ill, it's very hard to get the grasp that this is a dream. When you're ill and sick and in pain, telling somebody that it's a dream goes nowhere, including yourself.
yes.
You have to learn that defense. This sickness is the ego's defense against the truth. You have to, like, it goes back to like going to the pictures again, looking at the thing on the screen and interacting with it, getting happy and crying and grieving and all that and the other. It ain't really there. It's like getting beyond it. It's very like if you, but I think if you really awaken to the truth of what you are, then you have no need of defense because you know that you can't really be ill. And if you do become what appears to be ill, then it just appears to be ill, and you can handle it that much. That much. I read what they call them. Oh, there was I can't think of what they call it. A religious sect who were burned at the stake in France back in the day. They had an Inquisition as well as the Spanish, and they used to burn them. I can't. What's the name of them people?
Cathar.
It's begins with H, I think, or but oh God, I can't think what they. Anyway, some of them were so devout that when they were burning them at the stake, they used to sing. They'd woke, and this is all recorded. They just start singing, right? And of course they go da 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 da, and like the one who's the executioner dropped on his knees and repented on the spot, and the judge who sentenced him to death went crazy because he thought he'd burned an angel.
Wow.
They would. I can't. Oh God, I wish I could remember what the name of them is. Like it's ain't like the Cathars, but they were. They
The
started off
people's
in France.
the People's Front of Paris. The
Well,
The
no, this is
Parisian
going back
Front.
hundreds of years. Oh
they're just,
Jesus
they're just
Christ!
like crayfish. They sing when you burn them to death, aren't they?
So they. Oh yeah, well, it's just air escaping from their shells. They're
Just
not
to
having a
make the Son
wonderful
of God
time in
feel
the hot
guilty now
pot. It's
every
just
time you eat crayfish.
yeah.
Hey, tofu doesn't whistle, mate. Let me put it that
There
way.
you go.
Eat tofu, it appreciates it.
A beautiful line there is this has been my greatest lesson,
Yeah,
Lesson one, how to be less grumpy. Lesson
yeah,
two, I trust my brothers who are one with me.
Yeah.
Because when you grow up with the conditioning of everything's a threat, and you
yeah.
have that seeming direct experience of
French religious
continuous
sect.
attack and threat all around the corner, and to get to that non-dual understanding, once that direct experience of the atonement, that holy instant
French
comes through, and
religious
you
sect.
realize you've been manifesting this for yourself and self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
recognize, I trust my brothers who are one with me. So it is not danger that comes with defenses. When defenses are laid down, it is safety.
Yeah.
And that took, well, it's taken me 58 years to truly not believe, but know it, to truly trust it. And it took a long time for me to leave the house without being armed.
Mm-hmm.
Because
wow.
of course, I could have every reason of my conditioning, my training, my special forces training, my bodyguard training. Living in Africa, it's dangerous. There's threats everywhere, hijacking, murders. Okay, well, since I have gone on this non-dual path the last 20 years, I haven't had the experiences I used to have, and life has become the new world is reflected back at me. I'm seeing joyous happiness everywhere I go. Not always. I mean, there are still incidences where you see things but there's no more direct attack anymore. I'm not experiencing it anymore. And that's simply the willingness to see anew, the willingness to be defenseless, and also to recognize that no matter what happens to this apparition, this device, which I've handed over to the Holy Spirit, what I am, what we all are, and as one unified indivisible
Yeah.
self, Christ self, is immortal and cannot be harmed. In our dream, it may appear that we're being harmed or whatever, but when you really know the truth, no, that's why Jesus did not suffer on the cross. Yes, he was crucified. Yes, he felt pain. But did he suffer? No, because suffering is a resistance to the appearance of whatever is happening in the world. And once you've transcended that and know that you're dreaming it, there's no more suffering.
Well, isn't that simple? They're called the Huguenots, by the way, spelt Huguenots. They're called the
Yes.
Huguenots, that religious sect. And that's similar. It's like them guys being sentenced to death and burning to death and singing and laughing while it's happening to them. They didn't feel
Oh,
no
yeah.
pain. I mean, you don't sing and laugh when you're being burned to death. You know, they were that devout. They had one street preacher who they arrested for just because he believed in a different religion to them. And he was in his cell singing away. And they asked him what he was singing about. He said, "I'm going to meet God. I just can hardly wait." And they're the one who tied him to it. And he's tied to the cross going, "Yeah, yeah." This is all recorded.
Wow.
It's absolutely. I mean, these people knew how to. That's why they were persecuted, because they didn't like the idea of them waking up. They didn't want them going around and telling everybody this isn't real true. You look into them, the Huguenots. They're very interesting people. Yeah, and that stuff
Always
about them
look
singing, that's
on the
true, apparently.
bright side
Anyway,
of life. Now we know where they got their inspiration.
we got the inspiration from, yeah, the
Not the 9 o'clock
Huguenots.
news.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, identification, going on from what you're saying there, Lou, is like identification within and without the dream. I think the same word
100%.
applies to what you started to identify with. And interestingly, but not surprisingly, just spent a bit of time with my mum, traveled up the country for a funeral. So in technically worldly terms, not the greatest of reasons, but we had a lovely time, and we honored our family member, and we were grateful for them. And it was merciful that they were taken, because they didn't, what was happening to them was not something you'd want to continue any further. But we talked about safety, because it's been one of the themes for me. It's like safety has like been I don't know, again, you're talking about 58. For me, it's probably 48 of the 52, 53 years. It's like it's been one of the key sort of like phrases and dynamics. And then to speak to my mum about it, who's obviously known me my whole life, and to talk about feeling safe, and for her to be sort of saying, yeah, you've got no reason to not feel safe. There's just in like a worldly sense of domestically and whereabouts I live and what's going on, blah blah blah. But that's really soaked in. That's not. It's just not the nuts and bolts of the situation anymore. It's like the work, doing the work, the mind training, the atonement, getting rid of the wrong-minded beliefs. That started to reflect back justification, because again, like you say, the self-perpetuating the circle, the justification is present because the thought and the feeling are so instantaneous that if you feel threatened, you look for a cause for that threat outside of you.
Yeah.
Instead of in the mirror. But the world is a mirror. So
It's like Luigi said earlier, like the world is peopled by everyone you've made up. I mean, the concept that it's only like in my world, I'm the only one here. When I pass on, my world ends, and everything I thought about it goes with it. Nobody really knows exactly how I think, and the same goes for you two. When what you put in your world is what is in your world. No matter what is out there, what is your dream is what you decide it all is. Like all these political things going on, someone likes him and someone likes him, and so their world's different to the world you've got, because whatever you believe you have is different to theirs. That's their world, and this is my world. I like this, I don't like that. And that's all right, but not this. He's all right, but he isn't. You know what I mean? It's just like you carry this picture around with you, which is your world. And when you leave here, it just goes with you. And you're just a name on a tombstone. or on an urn or something.
If they put
But
their ear
that's all it
next to
is.
the urn, do
And
they
the
hear
whole,
singing?
yeah. Do I? Yeah. But it's purely it's the fear of death like this that causes a lot of this. Like, it's like people are so afraid of death, but then you wouldn't if you knew in order to live the life. It's debatable really to have a sort of like a human life. You would have to have a death would have to be a mystery, because otherwise, if you knew it was all wonderful and great, you just top yourself. What's the point of
Yeah.
being here when you know it's absolutely fantastic? If you're tired of going round and round on the roller coaster, you just get off, don't you? But if you knew that was possible, and also it's the hurting of people when you leave. If you was to commit suicide, you got to think about people who love you.
Mm.
Yeah.
They don't want to see you. They think, oh, that will really hurt them.
Mm.
It's something selfish about committing suicide, really.
Mm.
That's just my point of view. I mean, I'm not suicidal at all. I'm looking forward to dying, but I'm not suicidal.
Mm.
I mean, what I believe absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I believe it. I'm looking forward to a great
Yeah.
adventure.
Yeah.
And as in them Seth books, like I read from the 70s, like someone, he said, for most souls or spirit, when they get back here, they go, oh, yeah, Jesus, yeah. They just remember,
Mm.
like, because it's been totally wiped. When they come back, it's like, oh, yeah, how could I have forgotten? That's according to Seth, but why not? According to that Seth book, the astral, this is like a big fairground. It's like a big fairground, and this is just one of the rides.
Yeah.
And a lot of souls come here just to experience it, because there's also artistic realms where they can use this to create works of art. This is what he's saying. But anything can happen in a dream anyway, so I can't see anything wrong with that. I think that because of that, these different dimensions, this is personally my opinion, a lot of people who seem very naive about what's going on in the world, then again, what's going on in the world to my mind is different to theirs. It's because they've never been here before. They've been in other lives. They've never been here and experienced a life of positive and negative. And they're very, very cynical. A lot of people who've been here before come back very cynical. But if you haven't been here before, or they haven't experienced any negativity or evil, they find it difficult to grasp, so they just can't believe it, which leaves them open to the crap that goes on. But that's just another theory, and I've totally gone off into the world of the imaginary. But
It's,
but
it's it's
that's
still pretty much takes us in that direction. And to me, I can speak from direct experience, since I have past life recall, first secret dream and the projection thereof. And I can guarantee you come to this earth enough times and you'll be way more grumpy than I am.
That's bullshit. That's
shit.
absolute bullshit. Right, let's stop the recording right now.
I'm not coming
That's
back
it.
again. I know what.
And have you noticed, it's people don't only fear death, they seem to fear death for you.
Mm.
Let me give you
Yeah.
an example. Let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate this so that you can really have a direct experience of what I mean. Watch what happens to everybody watching this right now. Oh, please don't smoke. Why not? It's bad for you. You're going to die. Well, I have a neurologist that says tobacco is actually good for brain tumors. What do you care whether I die or not? Why are you so worried about? Why not just be generous with your love and let people be as they are? What is it
I
about the spiritual circle that not only do we claim we don't fear death, but oh my gosh, we don't want anyone else to die, because who are we going to replace them with in our perception, in our projection? If this guy's gone out of my life? Then who do I replace him with? I need you in my life so you can fulfill a specific role in my life. I have it in my will that when I die and they cremate me, no one's allowed to attend a funeral. No funeral allowed. Just bugger off, just leave me alone. You don't bother phoning me while I was alive. You want to come visit me for when I'm dead now. And
If you
and the
die
last thing we do,
if you die before we've finished this series, me and Steve have already arranged to get Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street to come along with his dustbin.
has he agreed to come?
He has, mate. Yeah, he's been reading the course for a few years
Oh, all
now.
right. Well,
I have no idea who you talking about, but okay. Why do people worry? Oh, you're going to die. Don't smoke
Why do they?
cigarettes.
It's because if they object to you, or not say object, but if they see anything wrong in you yourself smoking cigarettes, it's
Yeah,
because they're worried about they might have loved cigarettes, but give it in case they died, and they see you still smoking and say, "Why are
they're
you
just
still smoking? I can't
jealous.
smoke because I don't
Just,
want to die," right? Because so they start saying, "Don't do that, don't do that."
no.
It's like my little daughter years and years ago when she was only about she had really long hair, and she come home from school one day and said, "The girls at school want me to tell me to cut my hair short." Why? She said, they've all got short hair and they want me to be like them. And that's why, like, they're jealous of your hair. Don't cut your
Mhm.
hair because someone else likes it long, likes it short. You have to learn to have it how you want it. And that I taught her
Yeah.
that way back when she was about 6 years old. They ain't worried about your haircut. They're worried that they can't grow their hair long and beautiful like you, so they want it short like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a
When I saw Louis smoking a cigarette, I thought, oh, I wish I could smell that. That looks nice. Mm.
wow. I used to smoke years ago. It never agreed with me. I used to like a beer with it. I used to like alcohol and cigarettes. So when I packed in alcohol, I didn't like. I found I didn't really like cigarettes, so they gradually faded away.
Well, you
You
see,
know,
having incarnated 1,000 times on this planet and having figured out the formula, I I used to watch people smoke even as a child, and I just loved the smell. I know people hate the smell of cigarettes. So
Mm.
what I did in this lifetime is I waited until I turned 40, and on my 40th birthday, I started smoking. The way I figure is by the time I'm 80 and I'm ready to go, who cares what condition my lungs are in? You know, time to go anyway. And yet I go for a full body once a year. And every time they do the scan and they do the breathing exercises, they can swear to God that you're not a smoker. Nothing shows up because I'm not in resistance and I'm not thinking
Yeah.
fearful thoughts around the smoking.
exactly.
I love it. Listen,
You just trust that you're enjoying your smoking and think no
don't
further
give it
than
any
that.
thought. Yeah. And it's all genetics. Some people have a negative predisposition to, in the dream, genetically to smoking, and others don't. But the point I was trying to make is if you truly are defenseless, you just allow people to be what they are. What I find in the non-dual or the spiritual world, people will comment, joy is peace, peace is joy. That's just my direct experience. You'll have someone have to go and comment, no, it's not, and blah, 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 blah. One of the things I love about Nick Arundis, he's got a series where he goes through a series of topics. And one of the things he says, I'm just a device. I'm
Mm.
just a device. I've offered this device to the voice of the Holy Spirit, and this is what's coming through.
Through this
And
instrument.
does it mean that I agree with everything he says in the way he explains mind and God? Not necessarily, but it certainly either reinforces it or not. If I disagree with him, it reinforces my position. If I agree with him, it reinforces both of us. We're all collectively lending to our collective awakening. In true defenselessness, it's to allow, to not be in resistance, to not be resisting by complaining. How can we debate and discuss or argue about non-duality? We can't. You have to move into duality to discuss and argue non-duality. It's ridiculous. So let be. To be truly defenseless is also to just let it be.
Mm.
Stop resisting.
Yeah,
It's not danger that comes with defenses when defenses are laid down. It is safety. It is peace. It is joy. Safety is peace, is joy, and it is God. And what is God? The unconditional love. What does unconditional mean? No conditions,
Mm.
no judgment, not believing the thoughts, not, of course, thoughts will still appear. Um, and just allow it to be as it is without any judgment. And that's permanent. That's a permanent practice while we still appear in form. To truly allow one another to be as is without having to. We're three completely different characters. We've all come from very different walks of life and we've studied very different things, some similar, some completely different. Here we are, aligned. And what's our truest alignment? We will to will God's will.
Mm.
What does it matter if you call God a he or a she or an it or energy or essence energy or the Tao or source energy or great, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Why do you want to force people to see things a certain way, act in a certain way, behave in a certain way? What is it? What do you know that no one else does? Do you know what God, pure energy, wants for you? Pure energy just wants you to return to pure energy, to knowingly be yourself as pure energy. Is it going to stop if you have a cigarette or you're a vegetarian or a vegan or a librarian or a carnivore? What does it matter? Can we just let go of judging ourselves and judging everything outside, which we have projected into our dream state to keep us preoccupied so that we don't return to present moment awareness in which our essential nature, the essence energy we are, is revealed by just being. Be now, be that.
Lovely.
And be thyself knowingly.
Very nice. Thank you.
Be that. I mean, and in this world, it's just whatever floats your boat. Like if you want to smoke or you want to drink or whatever, I don't say it reflects a spiritual way.
No.
Yeah.
It's just what like how Socrates was. It said everything in moderation.
Yeah.
And why not?
I
people
only smoke crack these days.
Well, I suppose that's your preference.
I have no idea what that is, but okay, I trust you. You cracked me up. So people are constantly asking me when are you going to do a retreat in Africa? Well, thank goodness there's now a retreat, some center in Cape Town. You can all go there. Beautiful place. But I am going to I'm going to host a retreat in Africa in the bush in safari type style, but it is a smoking safari only. Only smokers and sinners allowed. So next year in summer Africa time, there will be a retreat offered by Luigi. And we'll take you into the bush and you will have to retreat from the lions. And when you have that direct experience of possible death, you will awaken to self and it'll be the greatest retreat you've ever been on. And you won't have to go on another one. How's that? But you have to be a smoker to be allowed.
You've got to bring your own Marlboro Reds, otherwise you don't get in.
You will retreat so quickly you won't believe it.
You may not believe this, but lions won't eat smokers.
Well, it's the retreat where you will retreat.
Let's retreat from the retreat when no one wants to go. That's why he's set it up like that, so no one signs up.
That's it.
There's like a comedian.
You know me so well, my brother. You know
exactly. There's a comedian. A comedian I used to like, and he said, if you want to appear to be really generous, and he said, and you're in a pub and you want to, he said, landlord, a block of lard for everyone. On me, I'm paying. Everyone's like, no, I'm all right there. I'm sure it's like surefire way to appear generous and know that no one's going to take you up on it. Lewis's retreat. But to just circle back on some of the stuff you're saying there, and to get to the universal truth behind all of the specifics, we have had a dream of separation where our mind, as an extension of the mind of God, had a thought that quick, oh my God, what would it be like to be separate? Our mind is so powerful that we created a multiverse that seemed to take billions of years to unfold. And then everything thematically within that dream of separation has at its core either this one echo of that thought which made everything, or the one echo of the thought that created everything outside of the dream, that's going, wake up, come back to who you are, come back to what you are. Or you're in the dream going, oh, this is real, stay here. So when somebody's scared of dying, when someone's scared of someone else dying, when somebody doesn't feel safe, when somebody has defenses, all of those thoughts are reflections of that one central thought, which is I'm separate. And if you're, like in the course, it will say, use the language of or Ken certainly did, of we've killed God, if you want to make it that gory, kind of Christian sort of terminology, because at the core of the thought of separation, in order for separation to be real, perfect oneness has to be destroyed. And if perfect oneness has been destroyed by an aspect of perfect oneness, then what arises is the guilt, the uneasiness of going, oh my God, I've destroyed heaven because I had that thought of separation. And then, as it says, then that thought of guilt was projected out onto this imaginary character of nasty, evil God who's now on the hunt, going, right, who destroyed heaven? Where are you? And it's like, I better hide myself in billions of separate pieces, because if God finds me, he's going to get me back for destroying heaven. And that symbolism helps people to sort of like put faces and pictures to this process, which isn't even a process, because it's a journey that hasn't got any distance, because we're looking back on something as though it's happening now, which is just, I think I've done this. No, you haven't. Don't worry about it. And there, that bit at the end there, it's not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It's safety, it's peace, it's joy, and it's God. Because the defenses are there, the structure to perpetuate the idea of separation. And once you actually realize that everything isn't separate, and we just give names to stuff in the garden for the sake of conversation, because how else could you talk about anything if you didn't give it a name? The purpose of everything becomes to wake you up and wake everyone else up. And if there is no others, because it's all reflections of you, and you already have a sense of you being in a dream, and then it says, you start to move through the dream with a slightly more serene vibe. Your forehead looks more relaxed, and those who know you and recognize you as who they are go, oh, right, okay, yeah. And those who don't quite suss it go, what is that? But the demonstration is just, the reflection of that peace and that joy of your true essential nature, that someone's going, I know you. And it's like, yeah, of course you do, because I'm you and you're me. And this is a mirror. And what you're seeing is the memory of the peace that passeth understanding, which is from outside of the quote unquote dream. And you don't need any defenses for that, because you've learned how to be simple. You finally understand that defenses are foolish guardians of mad illusions. The more grotesque the dream, the fiercer and more powerful its defenses seem to be. Hold on a minute, there's a little circle involved in that. So you could twist that around and go, the more powerful the defenses seem to be, the more grotesque the dream.
100%.
Yeah,
and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you believe it's happened to you, so you get defensive, and attack begets attack.
Yeah. And yet, when the teacher of God finally agrees to look past them, he finds that nothing was there.
Nothing at all.
Go on, Steve.
And what you said about God is feeling that God is after us for breaking away from him and destroying heaven, because you've totally forgot like what it was like before we became bodies. This is the world of separation is the only world we can possibly believe in, because we have nothing there to tell us that it's all going to be okay, because we're scared stiff of God. And it's also like the dream has been taken control of somehow. Like I think it's that you set up this religious thing which intensifies that. Which intensifies the separation, doesn't it? Like even with Jesus is one of us. The whole book is about how we are one with Jesus, whereas the church places him on a pedestal and says he's up there and you should worship him. You can be, he's the greatest man that ever lived, and and you killed him, and so he should feel guilty and all that old stuff. You know what I mean? That's enhancing the all religion does is enhance the idea of separation.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's all done in the best intentions by most of them. No. Well, not at the top, it isn't. It's certainly not at the top.
Yeah.
But the people who's caught up in it, it believe that like if you're I mean, so much like I posted stuff, and some people have said to me, like, God will punish you for saying stuff like that, and that isn't how it works, and this, that, and the other. All right, well, you go away, believe that, and I'll believe this, all right? But it's with that sort of thing. Okay, if that's what we you want to believe it. I'm not going to argue with you.
But witness,
It's
the word witness, the way the Course uses it, is like there's only two things to witness to, isn't there? You witness to the memory of perfect oneness, or you witness to perpetuating the separation. And the desire creates the witnessing, and the witnessing creates the desire. So it's another circle again.
yeah,
Yep.
and everything circles back to when you first came here, because like when you're born. That moment you were born, when you die, you're back at that same moment because there is no time. There's only time here, isn't there? There's no time in reality, the true reality. I don't know about this astral, but I don't. The thing is, if you notice, like people who go to the astral in these near-death experiences, everything's separated. There's still people here and people over there, and then I saw this, then I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be oneness because you're still seeing separation, same as you are here. You're just in a
100%.
different bit of the dream. That's all.
But I
When
think
you
I find that that's a really helpful thing, or not helpful, but that's a great thing for me. Having found the Course, is I constantly find my shoulders dropping at the fact that the Course just doesn't bother about where you come from, what the world,
Sure.
what you dream, where afterwards. And I know other people who really enjoy going, oh, in the spirit world, we do this and over there. And I can see their joy and I'm pleased for them. But for me, the fact that it's just what's going on now is like, oh, great, I can really get down with that. It's
You
fab.
can bypass that whole experience of the
yeah,
astral, of the spirit world, of the first dream, and return to pure present moment awareness, where
and
you
then
know you are the right-minded Christ mind. So
it's all
that's
one.
the beauty of
Yeah,
this course and other non-dual like Advaita, Upanishads, is it takes us directly to right-minded awareness.
Yeah.
The thought of you, which is you, the individual, haven't thought of. You're not dreaming. Our collective mind has dreamt you up and then dreams through you and projects through you,
Mm-hmm.
and then makes you believe that you're dreaming and thinking, and thereby keeping you preoccupied. That thought preoccupied with belief and thoughts. And then what does it do? That thought doesn't dissolve in the light of awareness. So it regurgitates, returns, reincarnates as another thought about itself. What could I be? And how do I observe the power of
Mm-hmm.
God? The minute the thought, the puppet, recognizes the string in the hands that seem to move it, it also recognizes the mind in which it lives, true mind, right-mindedness, drops the strings, drops the hand, awakens to self, and it just vanishes out of the dreaming mind, returning to Christ-minded awareness. Skip that whole dream, skip that whole secret dream, the spirit world, drop the whole damn thing and awaken to that reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of this is that at some stage in our progression, in our awakening sequence, it comes spontaneously. So don't force it. Human beings, we spiritual people, do I have free will? We want to know if we have free will. And you say, no, you don't. So the whole dream's playing out. Your only choice, your only true free will is will to will God's will. Surrender to what is, allow it to happen. Does that mean that I won't awaken in this lifetime? No one awakens in a lifetime. No one awakens. The dreaming mind is awakening. Yeah, but what about Ramana Maharishi, or Jesus, or Buddha, or whoever? They just awoke to self. They recognize this temporal body mind, characters and appearance projected by our dreaming mind, and it doesn't think, and it stopped taking itself and its identities and its thoughts seriously, and realized, I am. The recognition of the eternal. And the minute that was there, it bypasses immediately. Where are those characters? That's why I say Jesus couldn't have spoken the course, because for Jesus to have spoken the course, Jesus must still be in the wrong mind. And Jesus is Christ, therefore right-mindedness. There's no more Jesus in right-mindedness. There's just Christ-mindedness. The word Jesus, the character's dropped. It's just pure awareness, undifferentiated, immortal awareness shining through, and the devices that no longer identify with identity with this fearful, defenseless creature. It drops all of this. The radio waves flow through. The white noise of eternity flow through. The memory for God flows through. present moment awareness, no more identity, no more fear, no more defenses, and just the peace of God that transcends understanding into knowing, being knowingly being. Yeah. It's a progression. And even though I may sound like I'm always there, I'm not. But in truth, the I am is always there. The I am that I am is always there. And this is the beauty. This is the beauty of knowing that now, no matter what it seems to come and go, it's already done.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nicely put.
Somewhere in the course, it says, like, if a student was to awaken completely, he wouldn't be able to stay here.
Oh, yeah.
Because assuming I don't know if he means he'd disappear or what. He said, if you understand wholly what this is, you can't stay here. But you've got to remain on. In order to stay here to teach, you have to sort of like hold on to some of it to remain here.
Yeah, smoke, drink.
Smoke and drink. Yeah, well, just have
eat tofu. Maybe you two should join me in the tofu. Like,
I've eaten tofu before. It's all right.
I have no idea what tofu is. It sounds
reliable. It's reliable enough stuff, but I wouldn't count on it in an emergency. You know what I mean?
I don't think we have tofu in Africa. I don't think it's allowed.
What is it? And it's some kind of. I've eaten it, but I'm not sure what it is.
Let's not bring it up. Lewis will be here for another 5 lifetimes, traumatized. Let's just say it's not meat. He's already worried about whether his next steak's going to be an aubergine steak.
Yeah. Well, my cats are out there hunting for our dinner, so it'll be fine.
So speaking of generosity, with me offering you both the opportunity to join me in the tofu party. The term generosity has special meaning to the teacher of God. It's not the usual meaning of the word. In fact, it's a meaning that must be learned and learned very carefully. Like all the other attributes of God's teachers, this one rests ultimately on trust. For without trust, no one can be generous in the true sense. To the world, generosity means giving away in the sense of giving up. To the teachers of God, it means giving away in order to keep. This has been emphasized throughout the text and the workbook, but it's perhaps more alien to the thinking of the world than many other ideas in our curriculum. Its greater strangeness lies merely in the obviousness of its reversal of the world's thinking. In the clearest way possible, and at the simplest of levels, the word means the exact opposite to the teachers of God and to the world. The teacher of God is generous out of self-interest. This does not refer, however, to the self of which the world speaks. Oh, sorry, Dash has got caught up in some wires. There we go. Go and see Mum. The teacher of God does not want anything he cannot give away, because he realizes it would be valueless to him by definition. What would he want it for? He could only lose because of it. He could not gain. Therefore, he does not seek what only he could keep, because that is a guarantee of loss. He does not want to suffer. Why should he ensure himself pain? But he does want to keep for himself all things that are of God, and therefore for his Son. These are the things that belong to him. These he can give away in true generosity, protecting them forever for himself. Wow.
Beautiful.
Incredible.
It is.
Absolutely.
I think in essence, he's talking about the ever since I found, like I said to you before, when I first come across the course, I felt compelled that I had to teach this, like compelled to do it. I don't know if you can call that a generosity. Like I feel I've got to share everything I find out. If I find out a really good analogy or something, or if I've got to make a video and put it out there and show somebody, I just want them to know. And it's a generosity of the knowledge you've got. I think as you learn of this, you just want to be generous with it. Have it. And have it all. If you can take it, if you're prepared to take it, here it is. you know.
Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
the powerful thing then, when this is really getting to the non-dual, is the teacher of God is generous out of self, capital S, interest. Meaning, we could be having this conversation over a beer and a barbecue, or a braai, as we call it here. Or we could be doing it here and sharing our understanding and our investigation into the absolute with one another as we are recording it. This is generosity. This is us offering, to have all, give all. But what is it that you're offering? What are you giving all? You're giving all of your self, capital S, self, your awareness, your present moment awareness, your memory for God, your explanation pointing of the direct path that you've been on to share with each other. Remember, we're all fractures of one mind. What one learns and one remembers adds to the collective remembering. So we're all aiding in our collective awakening. And when you consciously offer the device to the Holy Spirit, the voice for God, as a remembrance for us all, it is self-interest because there's only one self. So in serving our collective self, I serve you and I serve this apparition too. That everything we do is serving the remembrance of self, self-awareness, self-awakening, true self, Christ self, the extension of God. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's very different to the way of the world giving, because in the world generosity, I mean, if I give you something, I've now given it away. In true reality, what's given to one is given to all. To have is to be all. Beingness, true being.
Yeah.
And but generosity is also, I mean, in the human term, generosity, generous people are kind, they're compassionate, they're caring, they're always considering their fractured selves, and therefore oneself. You help others, you help your one shared self. It's all wonderful giving money away, and preaching, but when you offer yourself present gratitude and offer with gratitude, always offer with gratitude, the self remembers self, and you just see the smile, you see the new world reflecting back at you, see the face of Christ reflected back at you. Who doesn't
It's,
love to share and to give and to be generous?
well, if I give someone my hat, then I've no longer got a hat, right? If I give anybody anything from the material world, I no longer have it. But if I give someone love, happiness, or joy, not only have I still got it myself, it's not like I can take it out and say, have it, now I'm not joyous anymore. I've said this before. But if you've made someone happy and you see the happiness on their face, your happiness increases. The joy that you've got from making someone else happy is intense. You can't give it away. I can give away anything from the material world and it's not mine anymore. But if I give away some love or joy, not only is it still mine, I've spread it out. And that's the difference between what belongs to God. You know, in oneness, like, the reason why if I spread happiness, I see it in their faces because it's part of the oneness, part of the extensions of the oneness of God. That's what it is. Because in the oneness, giving and receiving are the same, aren't they? Just as our having and being. They're all the
Yeah,
same. That's why there's no lack there, because having and being are the same. So how can there be lack?
beautiful.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just logic. But like I say, you give away happiness, that's part of the oneness, and then you can spread it around. You can't spread my hat around. Once it's gone, it's gone. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's why I go around sharing cigarettes with everybody. I just love sharing, the
And
Holy
lard,
Spirit into tobacco.
But it's good. Yeah, but it's good to
lard
share.
and
It's good to share
cigarettes.
anyway. It's part of the spirit of oneness, isn't it? Sharing.
Yeah.
Spread it. You know.
Well,
No,
let's look at that little bit there where it says, in the clearest way possible and at the simplest of levels, the word means the exact opposite to the teachers of God and to the world. I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. And again, tying in with the witnessing, everything either witnesses to perfect oneness or witnesses to the idea of separation. And like Lou, you always bring to the table the extension. You talk about just the expansive extension of the infinite lightness of being, and the fact that it's a reflection of the harmony of being aligned with the spirit of our essence. Of just, it just extends, and that is natural. We don't have to sit there and forcibly think, right, I must extend love. You know, it's
you
when
become,
you
become love.
It's when what we can do, quote unquote, is create a barrier, try and stop it extending.
Sure.
But what we can't do is actively. I mean, that's in a sense like saying about the free will thing. It's like, yeah, I think forcibly is probably quite a good word of like, you can't forcibly make love extend, because it just does it of its own nature spontaneously.
Yeah, love is extension.
Yeah.
Just be, like Ken Wapnick said, just be kind. Forget all the metaphysics, just be kind. Simple as that, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't.
And
Matter of fact, I
added,
haven't
if you
heard him
can't
say
be
that. Someone
kind,
told
be
me he said
quiet.
that, and I thought it was good. Hey, if you what?
I said, I've added to Ken's line, and I said, if you can't be kind, be quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, have you ever tried smiling at the mirror and it doesn't smile back at you? I mean, you get a serious fright if you smiled at the mirror and it frowned at you.
Well,
That's
funny you
it. You
talk.
smile at the mirror and the mirror smiles at you. You frown
Yeah,
at the mirror and the mirror
exactly.
frowns back at you.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
Really is as simple as that.
I mean,
Therefore,
have you seen those videos of the cats that see themselves in the mirror for the first time and they hiss up and they get all angry and jump about and then eventually realize, hang a second, it's me.
Wait a minute.
Well, that's what we're all doing. We're growling at the world and frowning and attacking it, and then eventually, at some stage, smiles back. Smiles back. Let's
Yeah,
try
it's
this
like
again.
I saw a video of a bear. They set this big mirror up in a forest, and this bear walks up to it, and he's punching it and hitting it and kicking it, and finally he stops and looks at it, then walks around the back to see what's behind it. He say, "Well, wait a minute." He walks around.
Does
Well,
he
we
live
do
in?
that.
Does he live in South Africa, this bear?
No,
Well, I
there's
don't know
no
where he was. He
bears
was
in
in
South
some
Africa,
forest.
Leon. Tourists. You know, you tourists. There's no bears in Africa. There's no, there's no tigers in Africa. There's no kangaroos in Africa, but there's lots of Londoners.
Yeah. Hey, what's that? Oh yeah, Londoners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, East London's in East. Is it East London? Is in South Africa down the
South
bottom
Africa,
somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah,
in
it
the
does.
Eastern
Yeah.
Cape, yes, down in the Cape, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's where my mother lives. Yeah,
Really? Oh, good on.
yeah, yeah. And my brother and my sister.
They one with you. Do you trust them?
Who are one with them. Christmas Day specifically.
I trust them all on Christmas Day when they're one with
Yeah.
me.
Well, I only see them on Christmas Day. So.
To celebrate the crucifixion. Oh no, that's Easter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Giant. What's the comedian that I love? He says, because I was just in Australia where they celebrate the Easter by saying that a giant bunny rabbit came during the night and left chocolate eggs. You know, I wonder why we're fucked up, he said.
Well, well, Easter has become an extension. I remember 30 years ago when I was working in an office, the girls in the office were talking about buying their kids presents instead of Easter eggs because, like, you know, the Easter eggs get ate, and if they have a present, it's something permanent. They're gradually like it's like they were gradually trying to turn Easter into another Christmas, another consumer fest. You know, so get them a load of toys instead of a lot of eggs. You know. You know, the whole thing's too commercialized, isn't it, really? Like you said, what Easter bunnies and eggs rolling down hills? I mean, what really has that got to do with the crucifixion of Christ, you know? And what has Santa Claus got to do with his birth? It's all just, you know, it's all just grown out of it, isn't
I
it?
think there was some of the Dead Sea Scrolls, they'd found that Jesus had written one or two, hadn't he? And he was talking about how he wanted the crucifixion and his his demonstration that the Son of God can stand for anything that happens in the world. At some point, if that could be turned into like a 2 or 3 day festival based around the consumption of chocolate, then that would be an ideal scenario. And it's come to pass. I mean, not ever, hopefully it'll still be here for many thousands of years.
Damn Dead Sea Scrolls. They've just ruined everything.
I know. It's a shame.
Religion was flourishing. There was no resistance. And damn Dead Sea Scrolls.
That's it. Now everyone wants to come back life after life so we can eat more chocolate. Unless they've got chocolate we can have with coffee in heaven. We don't know yet, do we?
Yeah.
Well, it awaits us.
So
Coffee of heaven.
Nisargadatta asks, in the depth of your heart, what is it that you want? I want to find reality. What price are you willing to pay for reality? Any price? While in theory I'm ready to pay any price, in actual life, again and again, I'm being prompted to behave in ways which come in between me and reality. Desire carries me away. Increase and widen your desires till nothing but reality can fulfill them. It's not desire that's wrong, but it's narrowness and its smallness. Desire is devotion. By all means, be devoted to the real, the infinite, the eternal heart of being. Transform desire into love. All you want is to be happy. All your desires, whatever they may be, are expressions of your longing for happiness. Basically, you wish yourself well. I know that I should not. Wait, who told you that you should not? What is wrong with wanting to be happy? The self must go, I know, but the self is there. Your desires are there. Your longing to be happy is there. Why? Because you love yourself. By all means, love yourself wisely. What is wrong is to love yourself stupidly, so as to make yourself suffer. Love yourself wisely. Both indulgence and austerity have the same purpose in view, to make you happy. Indulgence is the stupid way. Austerity is the wise way. What is austerity? Once you've gone through an experience, not to go through it again is austerity. To eschew the unnecessary is austerity. Not to anticipate pleasure or pain is austerity. Having things under control at all times is austerity. Desire by itself is not wrong. It's life itself, the urge to grow in knowledge and experience. It's the choices you make that are wrong. To imagine that some little thing, food, sex, power, fame, will make you happy is to deceive yourself. Only something as vast and deep as your real self can make you truly and lastingly happy. Since there's nothing basically wrong in desire as an expression of love of self, how should desire be managed? Live your life intelligently with the interests of your deepest self always in mind. After all, what do you really want? Not perfection, you're already perfect. What you seek is to express in action what you are. For this you have a body and a mind. Take them in hand and make them serve you. Who's the operator here? Who is to take the body-mind in hand? The purified mind is the faithful servant of the self. It takes charge of the instruments, inner and outer, and makes them serve their purpose. And what is their purpose? The self is universal and its aims are universal. There's nothing personal about the self. Live an ordinary life, but don't make it a goal by itself. It should be the starting point for high adventure. Do you advise me to come to India repeatedly? If you are an earnest, you don't need moving about. You are yourself wherever you are, and you create your own climate. Locomotion and transportation will not give you salvation. You're not the body, and dragging the body from place to place will take you nowhere. Your mind is free to roam the three worlds. Make full use of it. If I'm free, why am I in a body? You're not in the body is in you, the mind is in you, they happen to you. They're there because you find them interesting. Your very nature has the infinite capacity to enjoy. It's full of zest and affection. It sheds its radiance on all that comes within its focus of awareness, and nothing is excluded. It does not know evil or ugliness. It hopes, it trusts, it loves. You people do not know how much you miss by not knowing your own true self. You're neither the body nor the mind, neither the fuel nor the fire. They appear and disappear according to their own laws. That which you are, your true self, you love it, and whatever you do for your own happiness. To find it, to know, to cherish, it is your basic urge. Since time immemorial, you loved yourself, but never wisely. Use your body and mind wisely in the service of the self, that is all. Be true to yourself. Love yourself absolutely. Do not pretend that you love others as yourself unless you have realized them as one with yourself. You cannot love them. Don't pretend to be what you're not. Don't refuse to be what you are. Your love of others is the result of self-knowledge, not its cause. Without self-realization, no virtue is genuine. When you know beyond all doubting that the same life flows through all that is, and you are that life, you will love all naturally and spontaneously. When you realize the depth and fullness of your love of yourself, you know that every living being and the entire universe are included in your affection. But when you look at anything as separate from you, you cannot love it, for you're afraid of it. Alienation causes fear, and fear deepens alienation. It's a vicious circle. Only self-realization can break it. Go for it resolutely.
Well, he knows why I didn't want to go to London anyway.
And why?
That thing, what he says about I forgot about it. Scarcity, austerity. Is that austerity? I took that to mean like, just be very simple when what you do in the world. Keep your mind sort of like focused on the more simple aspects of life rather than making it a big complex issue, because it tends to overshadow what the truth really is. It gets on top of it, That's what I took him to mean there,
I heard a brilliant phrase in the week. This guy was saying intelligent bullshit. It's hilarious.
Intelligent what?
Intelligent bullshit.
Intelligent bullshit. There was plenty of that around.
Yeah, he was talking about...
It's some talk about Nisargadatta. There's something I read because I read a bit of him every day. I've started reading that other book that arrived the other day, that DeLillo. I started reading that. That's pretty good. But it's something that I always look for simple analogies, and I missed it the first time I read this Nisargadatta's book. I don't know how, but I'm reading it the second time and I found it. And someone said to him, so how do you see this? How do you find yourself? And he says, you just shift your attention. And he says, you're always saying that, just shift your attention. How do I shift my attention from one thing to another? And he says, okay, get your finger and your thumb, right? Now feel your thumb with your finger. And now stop. Now feel your finger with your thumb. He said, you're doing the same thing, but your attention is shifted one to the other. See if you can expand on that. And you do that, you think, yeah. It's a matter of the mind thing. Like you're doing the same thing, but you can actually feel that you're feeling your finger with your thumb, then change it to feeling your thumb with your finger. It's just a matter of attention. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah. From an outward attention to an inward. Just take it from outward, just bring it in.
Yeah.
And then watch the thoughts and then look for the silence between the thoughts. And there you are.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love that.
Good one.
Love that. And then we can look down on people in thanks. That's what we want to do, isn't it?
Like Jesus, yes.
Yeah. So let's have a little look. We've gone trust, honesty, tolerance, gentleness, joy, defenselessness, and generosity.
Mm.
And that gives us 3 less for next time.
And
Yes.
they're all the same all aspects of the same identity.
Yeah, let's not give them any more. Let's not be too generous.
That's enough.
Wait for
Typical,
next week.
typical from the one who won't bring joy to the table as
No
well.
joy allowed.
No
No
joy.
smiling allowed. You know, frowning is an art.
We're going to have to be patient and tolerant with him, aren't we, Steve?
We will be. We are.
I'll get you guys growling in no time.
All right.
Thanks, Bruce Wayne.
No worries.
Lou Wayne.
Wayne. Yeah. Lou is
Okay,
Wayne.
then.
So, guys.
Gentlemen, good to catch up again.
Yeah.
Really good. Thoroughly enjoyed that chat. Good on you, gentlemen. That was. I enjoyed that. That was fun.
See you next week.
I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Same channel.
Be well.
Cheers, everybody.
Have
Thanks
a
for
good
dialing
one.
in.
See you later. Bye.
Cheers.